Okay, here we are in InDesign, and this is my very simple workspace. I'm going to close this document and create one from scratch. File, New, and in InDesign, there are three things that you can make a document, which is pretty straightforward. A book, which is a collection of documents, such as if you're doing multi-chapters, or a magazine where you might have different people working on different sections, and you can collect them, all the documents, into one final book. And a library. Now, a library is a file that you can open with any other InDesign file that often can contain things like logos or swatches of color. It could also contain whole page layout chunks, and it's a way of templatizing and making your pages into easy to assemble Lego-like pieces. I really like the library, but I'm going to start out by creating a new document. So here we go. I'm going to create document new, and in InDesign I am measuring in inches, 8.5 by 11 letter size, with facing pages like a book. If I click this off, it's single pages. If I click it on, it is facing pages. At the bottom we have some other settings here for the margins, which 1/2 inch. That's a pretty hefty margin. That ought to work. Sometimes I might make it a little less, depending on how much content the client wants to squeeze into the page. And then there's these things called the bleed and the slug. The bleed and the slug are two areas that exist outside the actual page boundary that hold either extra ink that needs to be printed off of or bled off of the edge of a page when you want to do something that has color up to the edge. And the slug is another distance from the outer edge of the page that can contain marks that the printer uses to properly print your project, including registration bars, color bars, the project name, page number, the author, and any other specifications that you might want to add in the notes of the project. I'm going to set these up just so you can see what they look like. I'm going to use a bleed of 0.125, which is 1/8 of an inch. And I'll lock that on for all of my edges. So if I have any color that I want to print to the edge, it actually has to exceed that edge. Artwork has to go over the edge to be printed to the edge. So when it cuts, it doesn't make a white line or some other color line. And then the slug, I'm going to give a little bit more room for. I'm going to be pretty generous here and give it a 1/2 inch. But I really only want that 1/2 inch at the bottom, and the rest of it I'll just put 1/4 inch. So now I'm going to click off this link after making them all the same, and then really I probably should have just made them all 0.25 and then just changed one of them to 0.5, but I got hit in the face today with a basketball. Okay, so yeah. All right, so there's my page, and you can see that the purple and magenta lines are the margins, top, left and right, top, bottom, left and right. The red line is the bleed, and then this other line down here is the slug. So printer's marks would go in here, registration bar, those kinds of things. All right, yay, InDesign. So now what I need to see here that I don't see are my tools. And they're supposed to be around here somewhere. It says they're here. Tools, and come back, tools. There they are. And that's the beginning of working with InDesign. So here's my pages palette. I only have one page in my document. Right now, if I want to add more pages, this is the Add New Pages button. Click, click. Now I have 3 pages. And there's a section up here where there's a thick line, and above that thick line is an area that says A, Master, and None. This is the master page area. Master pages are a way of putting an element on a page that you want to be on every page. And you might also notice that there's an A, very tiny little A in the corners here of these pages, because by default, even if there's nothing on the default master, which is named A, it's already applied to the page. So the master is already applied to the page, it's just blank. It's assuming you want to use a master, which most people do. If they're doing a multiple page document, probably one of the things that they're going to need is page numbers. And page numbers are a master element that would want to carry through a very direct sequence. So that's what that is. That's what that A is, and we'll come back to that later. Okay. So this is my cover, and the inside of my cover, and the right to my cover, and that is not a trifold. Since we're talking about a trifold, and this is our lesson for our visual design class, I want to talk to you how to make that happen. If I look over here under this little menu from the pages, let me try that again here. From the little pages flyout, I have a menu, and from this menu there is these two check boxes, these two checked things that say allow document pages to shuffle and allow selected spread to shuffle. Well, what this is indicating is how this document is equipped to be moved around. If I try to take this page A and move it over here next to 2 and 3, you can see nothing is happening. It doesn't want to do it. I can't do that. But if I come to this little flyout menu and I tell it to only check on for allow selected spread to shuffle, okay, I should have clicked that one off, and I move this, I get this little bracket thing. And now when I move that, it's now a trifold. It's a very big trifold because it's using 8.5 by 11 sheets. It's a brochure for a high-end cruise line. Big, color, gorgeous thing, thick paper. Could be that size. Pretty rare that most trifolds would ever be that size. But that's the basic setup of how to do a trifold, and I'm going to stop this tutorial now.